Stars from 13 Stars. Here we are in this rainy afternoon to our third discussion of The Chalk Man. If you like suspense, guys, this book is for you, okay? It's pretty much like Stephen King stuff, so this is terrifying. Well, as I said, this is our third discussion, and as usual, I'm gonna split it into two parts. First, we're gonna talk about the events that take place in 2016. Then we're gonna travel backwards, and we're going to 1986. Wow, our main character Eddie Munster was expecting to host for dinner for mac and cheese, no, a macaroni bolognese. Okay, his old friend Metal Mickey. Okay, Metal Mickey said that he's back in town after 20 years because he has some news that are about the murder that happened 30 years back. Okay, the murder of a girl that we don't know who she was, but we know that the body was found with the head detached from the rest of the body, and that the head was never found. What is Metal Mickey's idea? He want to write about the happenings, okay? And he needs Eddie Munster to help him out with some thoroughly dig around the town because he's a town guy, okay? He never left Underbury, okay? And that's the proposal that Metal Mickey does to Eddie Munster, okay? He promises that he's gonna sleep on it, okay? But to make things more spicy, Mickey says that he knows who murdered the girl. OMG, this is quite an assumption, wasn't it? But he didn't reveal the murder. Of course he wouldn't, okay? They both drank a lot, okay? Metal Mickey drank beer and Eddie Monster drank wine. Metal Mickey decided to return to his hotel on foot. He didn't accept an offer of a ride or a cab, okay? He decided to take a look at the town, okay? And he left. He left. On the other hand, there is a hangover over Eddie Monster, okay? And he went to the kitchen to take a painkiller and he starts seeing things, okay? In fact, he has a historic of being a sleepwalker, so maybe it was a lucid dream as he qualifies it in the novel. However, he sees mud, footsteps of mud on the floor, and he can smell the sour scent of chalk. And when he take the pills, he can taste chalk. Okay, he is pretty scared. Okay, and he swears that he had seen the chalk man. That we know now that when they say chalk man, they are referring to Mr. Halloran. Okay, we're gonna travel back to 1986 for more details. The next day, Chloe, okay, the girl who lives with him, okay, his tenant, okay, wakes him up and say, "Hey, drunk guy, what are you doing? Uh, what happened last night?" And they chit chat a little bit about what happened last night. And Chloe says, "And do you remember what you did last night?" And he says, "No, I don't, but I saw something." And there they go for the remodeled part, the only remodeled part of the old house. And when he looks at the wall, Chloe says, "You did that." With white chalk on the walls, there was a bunch of chalk men exactly like this on the walls, like in a frenzy. Okay, somebody drew that. OMG. Okay, like this, we close our part of the story of 2016. Back then in 1986, we have plenty of happenings, some strong ones. Okay, so if you're not strong and if you are a kid, get out of the living room. You're not supposed to just say it and watch it and listen to it. Okay, well, what do we have back then? Back then, there was those quarrel where Sean wanted to kill Eddie Munster, okay, because Eddie Munster threw a stone on him and he opened his forehead, okay. And one day, Eddie was there at home and he saw blue chalkman drew on his sidewalk encircled by a circle. That was meaning that Metal Mickey, the young one now, wanted to see him urgently because there was an exclamation mark beside the circle at the playground. At first, he thinks it's a little bit weird because Metal Mickey would not call him before calling, for example, Fat Gav because they were closer. But, anyways, he grabs his bike and goes to the playground. When he arrives there, it's a little bit dark and a little bit too silent, okay? And as far as he is concerned, Metal Mickey is barely late. And who arrives there instead of Metal Mickey? Sean. Sean arrives there with his gang and starts calling him, "Hey, shitface, now I would like some apologies for what you have done to my head." Okay, and he knows that he is in trouble. Okay, the playground is empty, no people around. Okay, in fact, he sees far away a shadow of a guy, but like soon after, the guy just disappears. And do you know what Sean asks him to do to prove that he was sorry? To suck his cock. Yeah. He opens his flyers, put him down, and asks him to suck his cock. He describes, Eddie, who is the narrator, describes the scene detailedly. I'm not gonna do it. However, in the middle of this uh, scene, Mr. Holloran arrives and woo! Scatter Sean's gang, asks Eddie Monster if he was okay, clears his space saying that he didn't see what happened and asks him if he wanna pass by to his house to clear himself a little bit before going home because he was all dirty, okay, covered in dirt and sweat and blood because they hurt him before the scene, and he accepts. They put the bike in the trunk of the car and they head to Mr. Holloran's house. There, he washes his face, okay, and he clears a little bit himself. And when he's ready to go home, he decides to perk a little bit inside one of the rooms of the second floor of Mr. Holloran's house. There, he finds a room that's kind of empty and where there are just paintings. Basically, paintings of two women, okay, two girls, in fact. One of them he gets to know that is Mr. Holloran's sister that is dead. And the other one he recognized as soon as he sees it. It's the Walter girl. And he realized that according to the passion that he sees on the pictures, that Mr. Holloran is in love with the girl. He thinks it's a little bit weird because Mr. Holloran, despite the fact that he is 31 years old, he's an adult. He has a job. And the Walter girl is a teenager. Okay, he feels a little bit disgust. But okay, he understands that Mr. Holloran, the chalk man, may be in love with this girl. Well, Mr. Holloran drives him home, okay, and in the course of the way, they talk a little bit about karma, okay. Mr. Holloran tells him that everything that goes around comes around. They're talking about Sean because he bullies, okay, he's a bully, and he was explaining that he's gonna have what he deserves. Um, Eddie arrives home, okay, and there is that situation in his house because he gets to know that his mother is opening an abortion clinic in the town, and everybody is making a fuss because of this, mainly Reverend Martin, okay? And in this afternoon, they receive a parcel, and inside the parcel, there is a baby pig, and inside there is a message accusing Marianne, that is Eddie Monster's mom, to be a killer of innocent people. Okay, well, to finish, okay, the last happening that took place in 1986 of our reading is that the next day, what happens? It's a Sunday, if I'm not wrong. Metal Mickey and Hopo, they knocks on Eddie Monster's house and say, "Rush, rush! There is somebody like is underwater in the river. Let's see who was." And there they go. Okay, guy. Okay, they don't know who so far was drowned in the river. And when they arrive there is a crowd there, and they figure out that the guy who sank in the river was Sean, Metal Mickey's brother. He is dead. We get to know that somebody stole his bike, okay? A very famous bike because he's the paper boy in the town. And apparently, he enters in the river to try to rescue his bike. However, he got stuck in some trunks inside the river, and he dies. Okay, we are not done because the same night Sean appears to Eddie Munster in his dream. He throws some stones in his window, calling him, hey, shit face, wake up and calm down, because if you don't calm down, I'm going to enter in your room. Well, Eddie thinks I would better go down because a dead Sean back then in my backyard is worse, but a dead Sean here in my bedroom would be even worse. Okay, and he goes downstairs and he has this conversation with Sean, okay, who is already dead. So I assume that everything went up in his mind, saying that he must be careful with the chalk man. The other morning, exactly in the same place where Eddie had this conversation with Sean, there was a chalk man drill on the floor in white chalk. However, there is an information that it's rather important. None of the gang used white chalk. Hopo was green, Fat Gav was red, Metal Mickey blue, Nicky yellow, and Eddie was the orange. So who the hell drew that white chalk man on the floor? Who the hell drew all those frenzy of Chalkman on the current 2016 home of Eddie Monster? Scenes of next chapters, my stars. Join us. Keep with us. This is a nice discussion for this winter. I hope to see you next week.